Very good evening, everyone. This is Rajendran here, joining from Market Calls, and welcome everyone to Tradingview Pinescript version 6 Market Call Masterclass. So we're in the day 4 of the training session. So today's training session, what we're gonna learn is we're gonna learn about particularly we're gonna learn about the very basic strategy building is what we're gonna learn in this specific session. So I hope the audio and video quality is good enough to kickstart. If yes, simply type yes so that we can quickly kickstart with the session. All right, great. Thank you everyone for the quick confirmation. So without further delay, let me quickly pull up my trading view. So here is my trading view, and all the files has been up to date, uploaded to the portal. You can go back and check this out. So we'll start with an pretty simple strategy, right? So we're going to start with a strategy here. Until so far, what we had built is we had built an indicator. Now, what we are going to build in today's session is we're going to build a simple strategy, right? So the difference between indicator and strategy is what? Indicator is kind of visual, more of a visual element, whereas strategy will be able to backtest it out, and we can even easily, it'll be very easy to automate our trades as well. So let's kickstart with a new strategy. I'm going to go to create new, and then I'm going to pull up the strategy over here. So by default, it comes with a simple EMA crossover strategy, right? So if you could see here, there are two major parameters that you can see over here: overlay equal to true, and fill orders on standard OHLC equal to true. This is something that which is not part of version 5 they had introduced over here. So fill orders on standard OHLC equal to true. So which means what? You are using an regular candlestick charts, not like Heikenhashi charts or something like that. So based on what you want to fill the candles. So that's what they've been using over here. So fill orders on standard OHLC equal to true. In the sense, we are using open, high, low, close as a part of the system to design our trading strategy. So we have our long condition. Long condition is more of a true or false kind of statement. So here we are using TA.crossover. TA.crossover is not something like we're going to look for crossover between the variable, I mean, the series 1 and series 2. Whenever there is a positive crossover is happening, this will be looking for a positive, simple positive crossover. Here we'll be looking for a positive bullish crossover, where we'll be using the smaller length with an crossover with an larger length, or fast SMA with an small SMA. And the most important thing is the strategy.entry. So in this strategy.entry, what it does is it mimics placing the orders. So you can say you have to give an entry, you have to give a name over here. So this is like label. The label can be anything. What are the name that you are, what label that you want to give for your reference. You can keep that. Every order, entry order, you have to give a reference over here. So buy is the order that we're going to give, and we are instructing to go long over here. Likewise, short condition, we are using TA.cross under. So cross under also, it gives a series of true or false. You can see that it uses a series of bool, where we are sending two sources, two different series that we are sending. It looks for a negative crossover, and the end output is wherever there is a negative crossover is happening, it will return true, and it will return false if at all there is no crossover, right? I mean, cross under. And here again, we have to give a different ID, short, right? But this is not the main picture. The main picture is I'm going to start from the scratch, right? So we'll try to code a simple crossover itself, but we'll do it in our own style. What they had demonstrated in the sample code is they demonstrated only a trading strategy only, but we're going to remove everything. We're going to say strategy. I'm going to say simple EMA crossover strategy, plain vanilla. So we'll keep it simple so that it will be easy to understand. The whole idea is to understand what are the components that we should be using in these models. The number one, we should have input controls, right? We will also calculate the indicator logic. So calculation of indicators, and we'll be plotting those indicators. Yes, here in strategy, you can use the strategy to plot the indicators also, and you can use it for backtesting purpose also, right? So today we're not going to focus on backtesting part. We will be focusing only on the strategy creation part only, right? So followed by that, we will be building the trading logic. So trade execution logic is what we're going to bring over here. Execution logic. This is where our strategy orders will be coming in. Strategy.entry, strategy.close. And of course, we can feed this to ChatGPT and then we can get what we want, but we'll do the manual coding here, right? We'll say like len1, length of the first EMA. So let's call that as like input dot integer. And then we're going to set the default value as like 10 is what 10 and 20 EMA crossover is what I'm going to use. So I'll call this like length 1. And of course, min val, max val. By default, it doesn't shows, it shows options. But if you type min val and then max val, automatically it start coming up. See that the moment you type min val equal to 10, automatically it changes over here, min val, max val, and step. Because the input dot integer contains multiple format of data it can accept. So min val, I'll keep it like 1, and max val, I keep it like 100, and then followed by that step, I'll keep it like 1. Similarly, we'll go with length 2 as well. Length 2. That's going to be like 20. And followed by that, we're going to do a calculation of indicators. So talking about calculation of indicators, we're going to have like EMA1. So we're going to calculate a simple exponential moving average. Pretty easy to calculate. So TA.EMA. Open the parenthesis. You have to send the source and length. Source is nothing but the close. And length is nothing but len1. The len1 is what we're getting as an input control. Followed by that, we're going to get the EMA2 as well. EMA2. And we're going to plot those indicators as well. So plotting those indicators, again, plot, I'll say like series is what we're going to plot, EMA1, and comma, title, I'll give like EMA1 itself, EMA1, comma, color, I'll give like color dot green. Green and red is what I'm going to use. I'm not going to think too much. So line width equal to, I'll give like 2, and style, it's pretty decent. By default, that style is going to be line only. So we're not going to bother about that. So this is pretty much more than enough. Let's go with EMA2 as well. EMA2. And yeah, so the color will change this to like red, right? And then trade execution logic. This is where the most important part. Let's say like I'm going to build a long entry condition, long entry, or long condition. So this is what the default value they will be using in TradingView, right? So you can use any variable value, but majority of the variables, they use this long condition, short condition. That is how they will be using it. So in long condition, we're going to write this. This condition is nothing but what? Condition is always all about true or false kind of series. So we have to come up with a logic. The logic is very simple. We know that it's TA dot crossover of EMA1, EMA2. That's a positive EMA crossover. That's a positive EMA crossover, right? And likewise, we're going to have a short condition. The short condition is nothing but TA dot cross under of again EMA1, EMA2. Remember that always when it comes to crossover, shorter EMA followed by a longer EMA. Cross under also shorter EMA followed by a longer EMA, right? Maybe if you are using some other platform like Ami Broker or Ninja Trader, they will be using cross. You have to deal differently. But in in TradingView, we'll be using crossover and cross under. So always shorter length first, followed by the longer period next. So that's nothing but a negative EMA crossover. And finally, we have to go with that order execution. Order execution. So this is where we're gonna say like when to place order. So I'm gonna say like I'm gonna use an if as an keyword is what I'm gonna use. If loop is what I'm gonna use. If long condition, what does it mean is like if long condition is equal to true, is equals true. That's what it means. We can also simplify and say like if the long condition, what does it mean is like whenever the long condition is getting true, what I want to do is like I want to place an order. I want to place a buy order. So just give a tab and then I'll say like strategy dot. So all the order placement starts with strategy dot entry. So here there are a lot of functionalities we have: strategy dot entry, strategy dot exit, strategy dot close. One by one, we'll see through that. So we're gonna send an order on a close of the candle is what we're gonna send over here, right? So we have to give an ID. So you see that first it is asking for an ID. I'll say like buy. So it's up to you. Whatever the value that you want to specify, you can specify that. The next one is like direction. Direction says like whether you want to send a long order or a short order. So if you want to set a long order, you have to say like strategy dot long, and followed by that quantity. Yes, you can define the quantity. If you are not defining the quantity, then the quantity will be taken externally. So for time being, I'll specify the quantity over here. So I'll say like quantity equal to 1. Okay. And followed by that, are we going to send any limit, stop, OCA? OCA means one cancels another, like kind of a bracket order. We're not going to send any of those things. Comment. Yeah, interesting one is like comment. If in case if you want to add a comment, you can add those comment as well. So here I'm going to say like long, right? So that's what I'm going to simply going to say like long, so that you can understand what is really happening over here. What does this buy means? What does this long means? How it is represented on the charts? I'm going to show you later on. And similarly, we're going to do with a short condition as well. So we'll go with a short condition. Short condition. Start here also we're going to do a strategy entry. Here we're going to go with like short. This is going to be like strategy dot short. This is a simple long and short strategy, right? So the comment is like we're going to get into a short mode. That's what. So comment is only for our own understanding. And this will be represented on top of the charts itself, on top of the candles whenever the signal is happening. You're not going to see this. You will be seeing this in the backtesting. So this information, more or less, you'll be seeing in the backtesting here. This will be shown on backtesting. Whereas the comment here, whatever the comment that we are specifying over here, this information will be sent over the charts for display. Charts for display, or even you can send it to alerts also if in case you need for display. Right? So I guess that simplifies. So this is more of a simple long and short mechanism. It means always it will be in position. Either it will be long position, or whenever the reverse signal is happening, it will be closing the long and immediately going short. So that kind of strategy is what we call as a long short strategy. Right? So long short trading strategy. Let's save this. It's taking a lot of time. Yeah. All right. So the thing what we're gonna do here is master class underscore v6 underscore day 01. Sorry, day 04 underscore, right? Save. Now, why I'm just giving masterclass v6 is like we have done a lot of sessions in the past under the name masterclass. So this is the first time that we are doing with v6. So not much of a difference basically, but yes, there are minute difference here and there. You're gonna see through that. Wherever there is a difference is there, I'm gonna spot. For one example is like fill orders on standard OHLC equal to true. So that is something that which has been part of the newer version. So I think we saved it. Compiling says, what does the compiler says? Nothing much, right? So it compiles, there are no errors. So far, so good. And let me add to the charts. So the moment I add to the chart, you can see that it is gonna give me the backtesting immediately for the whatever the time frame which is available over here. So let me close this. So whatever the time frame which is available over here, maybe I'll go to the something like hourly time frame. whatever is the available time frame. Right now I'm in a hourly time frame. So if I go to the strategy tester here, automatically it shows up the back testing, it shows me the performance summary, what is the profitability, what is the gross profit, gross loss, maximum run up, run down, I mean drawdown, buy and hold returns, right? Sharp ratio and all those metrics it's gonna show. That's gonna indicate what kind of strategy it is. It's it an tradable strategy or not. And you also get this list of trades as well. And maybe if you are having a premium plan, you can go and enable the deep back testing, and you can able to back test for more number of bars, right? And yeah, so properties will show you what date to what date you entered the back testing, and what is the symbol, what time frame that you are used for back testing, what is the tick size, and your strategy inputs. So your strategy will be having inputs, right? So the inputs are nothing but what are the strategies that we are using over here, the settings. So here I'm using, if I go to inputs, the 10 and 20 is what you use for the backtesting. Now you can also find a property tab. This is very important. So in the property tab, as of now, we're not taking any inputs over here. We are setting the capital as like 10 lakhs capital is what we are setting, right? And followed by that order size, even though I'm specifying one contract over here, one contract is what I'm specifying over here. There are different types of order size. So this is what we call as a position sizing. Every signal is going to get trigger. What is the quantity that I'm going to take? So that you can control from the coding level also. You can control from the property level also. So backtesting property level also, or strategy properties level also, you'll be able to control it. Pyramiding. So if I want to add to my existing positions, let's say there is a buy is there, I want to add to my existing buy. So I want to do some pyramiding. Then we'll be using pyramiding. Pyramiding by default will be 1. So mostly if you want to build dynamic advanced strategies, you have to go with pyramiding. Commissions and slippages, as of now, we're not going to use here, but later on, we'll be adding those commissions and slippages. In our upcoming sessions, we'll be seeing how to enter the values for commissions, what value I should be entering for slippages, equity markets, what commission levels I should be using, and slippages, what kind of slippages that we can anticipate, how to key in those levels. So all those things we'll be looking through that. And margin for long positions and margin for short position. If in case if you are playing with the leverage strategies like intraday in Indian markets, there'll be like 3 times, 5 times leverage. You can control those leverage positions for Indian markets. And there is something called recalculate. Once order is filled, on order every tick, fill orders, a lot more controls are there, right? Strategy means tons and tons of controls. We'll be seeing that one by one, not today. Today focus is mostly on codes. So in our upcoming sessions, we'll be having an exclusive session only on backtesting. In those backtesting session, I'll be demonstrating what is what. But right now, you understand, right now we are not controlling the positions from here, right? I'm not controlling the positions from here. I'm controlling at a coding level. Maybe I'll try to control from here. Let's see what happens. I just sending like order size as like 2. What do I see? Do I see any change? Absolutely no change, right? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So basically, what are the value that I'm putting over here? Even if I'm going to put 100 also, I don't think it's not going to change, right? Nothing is changing over here because I'm controlling the settings at the code. At the code level, I'm controlling the quantity. So code level also, you can control the quantity, or you can also control the quantity. If you don't want to specify, right, you can also able to control the quantity at the Tradingview settings level also. All right, so here you're seeing the numbers, right? +2, -2. What does that exactly means? Any idea what does that means? Anybody? I'm sure you guys might be using Tradingview for quite some time, right? So I'm sending one quantity, but why is it showing +2, -2 every time? Anybody? So I'm sending quantity as 1, right? Maybe if I change the quantity, let's say quantity as 2, you're going to see like +4 and -4, more or less. I think that should be the number it should be displaying. In case of here, it's not printing because it is using 2 lots of Nifty futures. right? So maybe the money is not enough. Maybe if I'm going to add one more zero, I'm going to get that. Yeah, see that? So I'm just getting +4 and -4. Any idea what is happening over here? What is actually happening? Yeah, it's squaring the old quantity and is taking the new quantity. So when I'm going to specify as quantity as 1, right? So a couple of things that you need to know about these numbers, because when you want to automate it, this kind of numbers means really a lot to you. Very basic things, but yeah, so one have to pay attention. So when I specify 1, you're going to see that let me try to explain this with a simple diagram. So when I try to get my first buy is going to be like what? +1 quantity, right? It'll right now we're not able to see that because the very first trade, if you go and see, the number will be +1, or maybe first signal is a short, it is going to be -1. Let's say I'm getting a second sell signal. Next I'm getting a sell signal. So what I have to do, we're not getting a sell signal over here, we're directly getting a short signal. Means I have to reverse my position from long to short. Long to short. So this is the quantity I bought. But what is my position size? What is my position? My position size is like +1. Currently, I'm holding a +1 quantity. When it comes to short, what I have to do is I have to sell -2 quantity. I have to sell 2 times of the quantity. I sell -2, right? So that means my position size will change. This one is like position size +1. I'll put a lengthier arrow so that it will not get disturbed. My position size will go to -1 over here. Let's say again buy signal is happening. What will happen? Again buy signal is happening. Now this time my internal position size is -1. Means I'm already short 1 share. Net short is like -1. When there is a buy, I want to bring my -1 to +1. For that, what I have to do? I have to buy 2 quantity. So I have to buy 2 quantities over here. +2 means I'm buying 2 quantity. -2 means I'm selling 2 quantities. So this -1 with this +2, my net positions will automatically come down to +1 again. So +1. So always that whatever the numbers, let's say one more time a short is happening. This is what is going to happen. Another short is going to happen. I will sell again 2 shares and my net quantity will become -1 over here. Right? So, and this keeps on going on and on and on. It just keeps on going on and on and on. So always what you're going to see is like -2 +2, -2 +2, -2 and +2, and it keeps going on and on and on. So that's why you're seeing these numbers over here. And look at the long and short, whatever the one which I'm specifying over here, the long here and the short, these are coming from where? In our strategy comments. These are coming from the strategy comments over here. Strategy comments. Right? So you guys are clear? Michael, Preeti, Silambarasan, Manoj, Vikram, and everyone. So you guys are having any doubts, please let me know, because these are the very basics. Even if it is a basics and you are having a question, I'm here to help you out on that. All right, great. Preeti says clear. Silambarasan says clear. Michael, you clear? I'm sure these are like pretty damn basics, right? All right, Manoj says clear. Vikram says clear. Great. So let's move a little forward. So this is like long and short trading system. But let's say I want to do only long only. Maybe I'm an investor. I don't want to do a long and short. I want to do only long only, and I want to exit my longs. So we'll practice a different strategy here altogether, right? So this is a pretty simple strategy. Again, another simple strategy is what I'm going to play with that. So I'll go back and then I'll go and create a new strategy here, right? So I'll say like super trend. So it gives a default template. We're going to use this default template itself. But hey, one thing more, right? So where the execution is happening, if you could see that there is a small blue color line. You see that there is a small blue color arrow. You guys are able to see that. That is the price where the entry is happening. Listen carefully how the execution is happening. So this is something that you need to focus attention, because whenever you're troubleshooting, this will be helping you out. Actually, the crossover is happening over here. See that the crossover? Where is my crossover is happening? Crossover is happening here. Means the crossover is happening in this point. There is a positive crossover, right? Positive crossover. But why the entry is happening over here? Any idea why the entry is happening in the next candle? I'm just getting a buy in the next candle. Any idea why it is happening? So Michael is asking, if we do shorting, how about to trigger the hard to borrow stock? Michael is asking, how if we do shorting, how about to trigger the hard to borrow the stock? Michael, I'm not able to understand what do you mean by hard to borrow stock. Could you please enlighten? Anyways, in the meantime, so when there is a short, probably it's going to be a bearish signal, right? So if it is a bearish signal, uh, which means we're going to go negative on the positions. I don't think we have to borrow a stock. We are not going to borrow stock from somebody else, even though practically it happens in the exchange, right? So in TradingView, uh, it's considered as a negative quantity, right? So these informations are not live executions. Remember, these executions are going to go to like the back tester. The back tester will consider that your position is now short, so it maintains a virtual positions in the back tester. So the execution, even though the signal is generating over here, actually actual execution is happening over here. So basically, it is waiting for the candle to close, and it is taking the next bar open as the entry price. So basically, your entry price is always at the next bar open. Entry is at the next bar open. Is it always at next bar open? If you ask me, absolutely no. Here we are sending in a type of order called market order. So here we are sending a market order. We're not specifying any order type, right? So when I'm not specifying any order type in my code, automatically it picks up as a market order. If it is a market order, I'm not specifying any levels. So the entry will happen exactly at the, even though signal is coming over here, we wait for the candle to close. Let the new bar opens. The new bar opening level will be considered as the entry point over here, right? So I guess that explains what is how the entry is happening. So always entry here, even the crossover is happening over here. So next bar is what you're gonna get a signal. As long as you are gonna play with a simple moving average, Bollinger Band, ATR levels, right? So all these values requires, they're not level based trades. So if it is a level based trade, then you have to use limit orders or stop loss orders. When you're going to practice some sort of a pullback trades, push through trades, you're going to practice there, you will be having a level, certain level to monitor. So here we don't have any level to monitor, we only have an event. So what do I mean by event is like the EMA crossover is an event, right? So positive EMA crossover is an event, negative EMA crossover is an event. So whenever those events are happening, uh, it will take the positions at the next bar open, because we're not sending any limit orders over here. We are sending directly market orders is what we are sending. So market orders, where we are sending exactly, we are sending it to the backtester. So backtester will assume that, okay, this guy, the way he is designing the strategy, I'll take that as a market order, and then I will execute this as the next bar open. So by default, you're not specifying any limit order. You're not specifying any OCA type of orders. Always your entry will be considered as the next bar open itself. All right. So we'll go a little little bit super trend, right? So super trend strategy is what we're going to play with that. Yesterday we already learned how to play with super trend, right? Now we're going to do the same thing. So let's say this time I will say like, so same thing is what we're going to play with that input, and probably we need what we need to plot to calculate super trend. Then we're going to plot the super trend. Color coding the super trend needs to be taken care, right? So when we are plotting, we also need to take care of the dynamic colors as well. So with dynamic colors, and I want to also say like we need the super trend with uh, input is going to be like the factor. We're going to use like factor or multiplier. We're going to use what factor is going to 3 is what we're going to use, and multiplier is what we're going to use. Not multiplier, but ATR length. ATR length. So ATR length I'm going to use like 10. So I'm going to calculate super trend. So I'm going to use what? I'm going to use TA dot super trend, right? So inbuilt function is what we're going to use. And so why I'm writing brief is like I'm not going to generate, I'm not going to write the code. I'm going to give it to ChatGPT, or I'm going to use Claude kind of models. So I'm going to plot the super trend with dynamic colors. And then what else we're going to do here? We're also going to do with uh, trading logic. So we're going to define the long condition and short condition, long condition and long exit condition. So you see that long, maybe I'll say this like long entry condition and long exit condition, long exit condition. And followed by that, I'm also going to specify the strategy orders as well. Strategy orders. So this is the input that I'm going to give. Let me go to ChatGPT here. So under ChatGPT, somehow chat.com is not opening. So let me go with chatgpt.com. If ChatGPT is not going to work, yeah, it will open up. So under ChatGPT, we're going to go with PineGPT. Somehow chat is being a bit slow here today. Usually around US timings, we are feeling like it's getting a bit slower. Most likely the usage is getting more and more in the evenings. So this is a template. I'm going to simply pass and then I'm going to enter. So what I expect is like I'm expecting everything to get filled out automatically. So this will be used as a template prompt, and it's going to fill those whatever that we want to code. It's going to fill that up. So we already seen that how to send this as like kind of a template prompt. And what we'll be getting is like we'll be getting the fillers. So we'll be getting the factor, we'll be getting the length. You see that I asked for input with factor 3 and 10. So it's also automatically filling the value with 3 and 10. And super trend, it is by default, if you try to calculate super trend with the Tradingview, right, it doesn't calculate directly. I mean, it doesn't use the TA dot super trend, rather it uses a very complex technique to plot. So here I ask particularly to use TA dot super trend. It is also using the TA dot super trend. It's already aware about that, but when you ask directly, it doesn't split out with, I mean, it doesn't says the direct super trend logic. So here I particularly have to say that. So it is using as part of the instruction, right? Now, if you could see that when it says like calculate super trend and it's not having that command instructions, and it's plotting the super trend with dynamic colors. So it is using like direction equals -1, which is nothing but what it is looking for a buy signal. If it is a buy signal is continuing, we're going to use color green, otherwise it is color red. So it is using the ternary operator and it is plotting the super trend. And now it's coming up with a trading logic. So in the trading logic, we are having a long entry condition. Long entry condition is like it is looking for a change in short mode to long mode. My previous mode should be short. My current mode should be long, right? That is my long entry. And long exit is nothing but some short to long to short is what we are looking out for. So previous signal, previous bar, it should have a buy signal, and currently it should enter into the sell mode. So that is what it's happening. So in the strategy order section also, what we are doing is like entering long, it's pretty straightforward. Exiting long, whatever the position that we opened, the buy position what we opened is exactly the same thing that we are closing the position. We're not reversing here, we instead closing the position over here, right? So which means, so I have to see like plus one, minus one, plus one, minus one. That's how it's going to be. Let's go and see that. So I'm going to copy that and then I'll get back. I'll just simply replace the code. This should be working fine. I don't find any flaw there. This is a super trend long only strategy. Long only strategy. Score V6 underscore day 04. Save it. So it's compiling. Hopefully there should not be any issues. Yeah, there is no issues over here so far. Right. So let's just add this to the chart here. Let me remove this simple AMA crossover and then let me add this to the chart over here. Add to the chart. Okay, again, you can see that it's like this is how it looks like, but what we should be doing is like see that plus one, minus one, plus one, minus one. See, I haven't specified the quantity over here. So you could see that I'm not specifying the quantity over here. If I don't specify the quantity, as you said, like the quantity will be taken from the properties. So let me go to the settings. I'll go to properties. If I change the position over here, let's say I'll say like instead of one, I'll say like five. So five contracts. So automatically every trade I'm using a fixed position sizing is what fixed quantity is what I'm using over here. Because contract is like fixed number of shares. Press OK. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm in Nifty futures. Maybe I'll say like something like Apple. Right now, Apple is like running live, right? So we'll go with like Harley time frame. So you can see that plus 5 and minus 5 is what you're going to see over here, right? So the quantity is now decided by where? Not decided by the code. If you are writing inside the code takes the precedence always. Code takes the priority always in deciding the quantity. If you are not setting anything in the code, the external properties takes control. Now, whatever the external properties that we are having, initial capital, base currency, order size, pyramiding, everything we can control at a code level itself. Right? But this is given for people who want to create strategies and simply they want to click and configure. They don't want to edit their code every time. They want to edit from their controls. For those, the properties has been set over here. Right? So it's up to you where you want to write the code. Maybe if you're a coder, you're always, you know what is the position size that you're going to use. Always you can do a hard coding. But if you're a beginner, definitely hard coding is not a good idea. Right? So strategy entry will open up the position. Strategy close will close up the open positions. Here we don't need to set the quantity over here. Quantity means quantity will be controlled externally and add the comment. So adding a comment will be making the strategy interesting. So you say like long entry. So that here you instruct what information needs to be there on your charts. Right. So here this is like long entry. And for strategy close, it's going to be long exit. Now it adds more meaningfulness to your strategy. So saving is take time. Yeah. So now we can see that long entry, long exit. So this is like kind of a meaningful one. So we are entering plus 5 quantity over here and we are exiting all the quantity. Our net position is going to 0 over here. When I'm taking an entry here, when I'm taking an entry over here, so here we'll be having an my net position will be like net position here is going to be like plus 5, and here my net position is going to be what? So minus 5, so my net position is going to go to 0. So net position is going to be net position. My net open position is going to be 0 over here. So that's why long exit means we are not reversing the position. We are making our position to go to zero. I'm not holding any open position right now. That's what the difference between the previous code and the current code. All right, Michael is saying small cap stocks can often be hard to borrow, especially for short selling. Of course, small cap stocks, penny stocks are hard to borrow, right? Uh, when it comes to Indian market, there'll be a lot of restriction for that. But when it comes to US market, yes, there could be restriction for hard to borrow. But those things will not be considered in TradingView because TradingView doesn't has that knowledge about whether that stock is having liquidity or not, right? And whether it is hard to borrow or easy to borrow. TradingView doesn't know that. So no matter what, it just whatever the rules that you are providing, it will take that rules into the account, right? So it's you are the one who know that whether it is hard to borrow or accordingly you have to manage your strategies, right? So what are the rules that you are feeding to TradingView? That's what it's going to take it up. And when it comes to Indian markets, right, you can only short the equity markets only from an intraday perspective, whereas in US markets, you can also carry forward as well. In Indian markets also, there is an SLB mechanism is there, security lending and borrowing mechanism, where you can roll over your shorts, but that's not a popular technique in Indian markets. So popular technique is like people go short intraday. If at all they want to carry forward their shorts, they will be mostly using the F&O markets, F&O markets to short the stocks or to short the indices and roll over. So all those things are possible only in the futures markets, futures and options market. It is possible, but equity markets we are limited only to carrying shorts, only to limit to intraday. That's or generally there is also an SLB mechanism, security lending and borrowing mechanism is there where you can roll over your shorts as well. But again, that's hard to borrow. You have to go and participate in the SLB auction. So the mechanism is slightly different between US markets and Indian markets per se. Come on. I don't know why my session got disconnected. Maybe I think my another device is opened. Yeah, Mac. Let me close that. So are we clear with this strategy entry and strategy close? So the primary idea is to demonstrate a simple long only strategy. If it is a short only strategy, you have to do it in a similar way, right? So strategy entry for short and strategy dot close will close all your open positions. So are you guys clear about this context? Any questions on this? Any questions on whatever that we had spoken so far? And of course, there are many questions people had. Which model I should be using? Should I have to use ChatGPT, or should I use Claude Sonnet models, or should I use DeepSeeker model? Recently, it is getting viral, and today we have like CodeStrel from Mistral. These are like dominating. So let me do one thing. You can go to something called LMSys Arena or lmarena.ai, lmarena.ai. So they do all the benchmarking. So typically that is what I'll be primarily using at a base benchmark to understand which model does better, right? Not every model is expected to do better in terms of coding, but we have some benchmark particularly for coding. So I'm going to take some 5 minutes of time to explain what this lmarena.ai is all about. Sometimes it opens, sometimes it doesn't, but hopefully it's like kind of a community benchmarking, right? So here you can go and ask the same question, right? So what you can do is like whatever we asked, right? So this is what we asked. So let's say I'm just going to ask. You can this is like kind of battle arena, like where you can go and give a prompt. This is going to be my prompt. I'm going to say like I'm going to enter. So automatically it will start coding. There are two unknown models, model A and model B. So we don't know what model it is. So it's going to solve it step by step. See that it's solving it step by step. and you are the one who is gonna go and say which model is good. So you can see that this model is adding something extra over here. See that it's also adding and plot shapes as well. So it is thinking extra, it's going extra mile, whereas it is giving only what I ask is what I am getting. Right. So I think this model seems to be more intelligent to me. So what people go and vote that particular model. Oh, the A is better. So let me go and vote this model. Right. So it's people are saying like, okay, this is like Grok 2 Mini and this is Gemini 1.5 Pro. So Gemini 1.5 Pro is doing what I asked. Yes, it's undoubtedly solving it. But Grok 2 Mini is going extra mile by giving me optional things. So, right, I can go back and add this to my code and I'll be able to get some. I can go back and let me add this as well. It is giving me the shape as well, right? It's giving me the shape as well. So long entry condition, long exit condition, it's giving me those things. So I should be able to see that as in like shape, up arrow, label up and label down is what I'm getting as a style. Of course, we talked about style yesterday, right? So last couple of days, we've been talking about labels as well. So let's save this. But I don't like this labels anymore. I go with a plain vanilla itself. This is adding a shape will be too much confusing. Maybe you can add it an indicator. My recommendation is like don't go for adding it in the strategies because you will be having a lot of confusions. So the confusion will be like you'll be having a long entry also. You can see that your entry signal is happening over here. This is the bar, the buy signal triggered, but execution happens at the next bar open, right? But when you are using a plot shape, it is going to trigger a signal where the signal occurred, not at the execution point. So that will create a lot of confusions. To avoid confusion, my recommendation is like don't use any plot shape. Maybe you can use it if you want to display something, right? So if you want to display some status or like target hit, stop loss hit, those kind of indications if you want to bring, you can something meaningful you can bring it, but don't try to add shapes when you are already going for a buy or sell signal. That will be messing up with your existing strategy orders. Visually it will be confusing, right? It will not be confusing the strategy, but it will be visually looking like confusing. So now it will be this like pretty straightforward and plain vanilla. So I think I will generally go with this plain vanilla setup itself. I will I prefer not to add any labels unless it is required, right? So here in this model, we are the one who are choosing which one is good, which one is bad. Likewise, you can go and test those models. Almost every models are battled over here. And at the end of the day, what you'll get is like a kind of a leaderboard. It's a community-driven leaderboard, and they have like kind of a wide variety of things. It's like Copilot Arena. Copilot Arena is the one which is good for models to build codes, right? So maybe it could be like for an coding point of view. You can see that DeepSeek coder is one off late. It is getting popular. Today they released something like CodeStrel 25 version. So today they had released it, and that's going viral right now. So the last 2 weeks, if you would have seen in the internet, DeepSeek and CodeStrel is performing better. This is like not exclusively for TradingView. This is like overall language. It could be Python, it could be JavaScript, or it could be something else. Or maybe if you are building a websites for yourself, then you have to use this one, Web Dev Arena. This is a different leaderboard altogether. Right now, you can see that Claude is on a 3.5 model. That's what personally I'm also using to build web applications. And I've been using this for quite some time now. And O1 Mini and Gemini. So compared to Gemini, you can see that O1 Mini and Claude are really good in building for web development purpose. For something like you can see like something like TradingView, we have to choose any of these models, right? So you have to go back and experiment from these top models. Most likely from the Copilot Arena is what you have to see. Yeah, so that is what you have to see. Like there are different prompts. Something will perform always something better. So for example, if you want to do like text to image, I'm using something like Recraft V3, Ideogram, Flux. These are the top 3 models. I'm using it personally myself for creating some generatives or something like that, for creative banners or something like that. Right. So these are the places where you can go and see which models are ranking better. So my recommendation is like you better go and see this co-pilot arena and then you decide for yourself, right? Or overall, if you want to give a view, you can go and get an overview under coding who is doing good, right? This doesn't tells you a specific type of coding. So particularly about TradingView, my opinion is like you should be going with either ChatGPT or Claude Sonnet 3.5. I haven't tested with the deep seek, or I haven't tested with the models like Code still released today, so I've been testing it out, but not exclusively for TradingView. I'm pretty much comfortable with the outcome of ChatGPT and Claude Sonnet. I've been using this for almost more than since November 2022 onwards, using this. So I'm pretty much familiar about these models. And these are one of the top models so far still. So I haven't switched elsewhere for trading, coding view, trading view based strategies or indicators. I haven't switched elsewhere else. So this series also, we're going to use only ChatGPT. Particularly, we're going to use PineGPT inside that, and we're also going to use the Claude Sonnet models for building our strategies rapidly. All right, so we had done with an simple long only strategy. Now what we are going to build is long exit, short entry, short exit. So those models is what we're going to build right now. Let's go back. So what we are trying to explore is like we are trying to explore different styles of strategies is what we are trying to explore in today's session. So let me go back to TradingView. So here is our TradingView. Let me remove this. I'll go to the Pine editor. So now we're gonna have an maybe what kind of strategy that we can do is like maybe some ATR based ADX based strategies we'll try to do, right? Long, long exit, short and short exit strategy is what we're gonna do. Generally, I'm not a big fan of short entry or short exit kind of strategies, particularly for ADX based strategy. But let's say if we do one thing this time, we'll go with Claude. We'll go with Claude. Let's see what Claude is supposed to do here. So we're going to use maybe ADX and RSI is what we're going to use. ADX and RSI. We're going to get the input length of ADX and RSI. And then we're going to say like, we're not going to plot ADX and RSI. The reason is it is going to be an overlay equal to true. So we see that overlay equal to true. So we should not be plotting the ADX and RSI, right? So if we're going to plot that, it's going to mess up with the, it's going to mess up the current scale. So what we're going to do is like, we're going to calculate the ADX and the RSI in a variable and store it in a variable, These are the instruction I'm giving as a part of the prompt. And then followed by calculation, what we're also going to do is probably we're going to have our trading logic. So trading logic is going to be like long entry condition, then long exit condition, then short entry condition, and then short exit condition, right? And then finally, we're going to place the strategy orders. So here we'll be having an long entry, strategy.long, and then we'll be having a strategy.exit, strategy.close to close the open position. And again, we'll be initiating a short, and then we'll also exiting the short as well. So I'm not defining what strategy it is. Let Claude itself will come up with its own strategy. So strategy orders. It's going to be a market order, by the way. So let's go and just simply copy and then paste this. Of course, from the code itself, it understands that this is a Pinescript. I'm using a version 6. So it should be intelligent enough to use those things. So I'm using a Claude free plan only. Earlier, I used to have a subscription for Claude, a paid plan, but right now I am using an Windsurf for doing my web development. So I'm no more using Claude directly. I'm indirectly using Claude for my web development, as I said. Like, so this kind of web development over here, I'm mostly using kind of a thing called Cascade over here. This Cascade, it uses indirectly Claude Sonnet models to demonstrate that. So I'm using uh, so here you can see that like Claude Sonnet 3.5 model is what I'm using, and as part of that, I'm using having some paid plan. So I'm paying some $60 for this to build a web development. I'm not using Claude for anything else. So mostly for even though Claude is really good in doing all those things, but really it's super good when it comes to web developments, right? So for web developments, I'm using Claude 3.5, but otherwise, chat wise, I'm not using the paid version. Earlier, I was using until last month. Uh, Now I'm using only ChatGPT only. So ChatGPT for regular usages, for regular building codes and everything, day to day usages. Me, myself, my entire family is using those things. So Claude, let's go and try. But Claude also goes extra mile when it comes to TradingView, right? So it also try to deliver the best. It think through that and then it come up with the best of the best outcome most of the times. Let's press enter. So it is adding this ADX length, RSI length, ADX threshold, RSI overbought, oversold levels. Also, I have no clue why we need all those things, but let's try to understand. So it is getting this ADX value. So it is using the DA.DMI, and it's getting the DI plus, DI minus, plus DI and minus DI, and then our ADX. So we are getting in tuples, right? And we're also calculating the RSI. Now we are having this long entry condition separately, long exit condition separately, short entry condition separately, and short exit condition separately. And we're also using this plot shape, which is not a good idea, as I said. Anyways, I'm going to remove that because we will be using the default signals from here itself. So strategy entry, we are going long. That's a long ID. Whatever the ID that we are going long, we are exactly closing that. For strategy at entry, we are getting short. So here is what strategy.short says that we're going to go short. And strategy.close, that I want to close my short position. If I give that corresponding ID, that is going to close the existing short positions over there. And as I said, Claude always goes extra mile. So it's also doing something what I haven't added. So it's also adding some, whether you want to plot ADX or plot RSI, it's giving an Boolean controls. So it's also adding an extra, it's saying like chart dot new plane. I have no clue that whether this could be working or not. Let's go and try this out. I'm not sure. Sometimes these models hallucinates also. Let's just copy and then we'll go back to the code. I'm sure the models are hallucinating. So it's somehow Claude thinks too much. Sometimes these models overthinks, right? So chart dot new plane, there is no such thing called chart dot new plane. So this is what we call as a hallucination. It confidently hallucinates sometimes. So basically, these are like not part of the thing at all. Just remove that. So up to here, so far so good. And overbought and oversold is anywhere that we are using. Yeah, kind of RSA overbought and RSA oversold. It's used, but I'm sure this is not going to working as a strategy. But yes, for good for learning purpose kind of stuff here, right? So here we can also see that, right? It is using uncondition. It is also using the parentheses as well. So when I am giving parenthesis like this, first this condition will be executed first. Later on, the rest other condition will be executed. Okay, let me save this. And once we're done with that, we'll also see what is that the logical operators, how to play with that. So what does that means when I'm using unlogic or logic or not logic, how it gets played out. That's what we're gonna look into that. Let's save this. So hopefully there are no errors. Yeah, there are no errors. So only the other part was like kind of hallucinating. This is like kind of hallucination. So hallucination is something that it is totally inevitable when it comes to trading view. The reason is, if you look into the Python kind of codes, tons and tons of data is there for the models to train, right? So here, when it comes to TradingView, limited resources, hardly 1 million codes. That's what 1 million pages of codes, or maybe that's what the maximum input it would have been went through that. That itself a reasonable amount, but when it comes to Python, millions and millions of lines of code would have been went through that for training these models, right? So that's why those models are really well expert in coding Python, JavaScript, or React, or Node.js kind of projects. It does seamlessly and beautifully. It does those projects. But when it comes to TradingView, it get the context, but sometimes it is also overthink. Uh, right, so like how we also hallucinate sometimes, right? So we also hallucinate like when we are going in the dark, you know that, oh my god, there could be some sort of ghost might be behind me or something like that. So that kind of hallucination will be there even at a human level. Same thing applicable to these models also. These are like kind of models which mimics the human brain with trillions of neurons, and almost it surpasses the human neurons. Human has like what, 86 billion neurons in our brain. These models have almost, they have like trillions of neurons. They had already surpassed the human level intelligence already in many of the situations. These models also, they are prone to hallucinate. They will think something which is there but it is not there, right? So they're thinking that there is something called chart.new plane where I'll be able to plot ADX in a new plane, but to my knowledge, there is no such feature. It's every code will create only one plane only, either overlay equal to true or overlay equal to false. The code will not be able to create multiple plane on its own. When I say plane, what do I mean by here is like, so what we are seeing is like this is one plane. And if I'm going to add indicator, let's say I'll go and add an indicator over here. Say I'll add something like an alpha trend, I'm going to add. It's going to add it. If it's overlay, it's going to add it at the top. If it's something like directional movement index, this is like another strategy. I think strategy is not going to work out. Like I should be adding indicators. Let's say I'll try to add some other indicator, like go to technicals, indicators. I'll say like accumulation distribution or maybe Arun indicator. So each and everything is going to be added as a separate plane over here. This is the first plane, second plane, third plane. So every AFL code over here that corresponds to one single plane only. You cannot create within one indicator, I mean, one Pinescript code, you may not be able to create multiple plane outcomes. That is not possible, right? That is totally not possible. So every plane that's going to correspond to a single set of code. That's what we're going to get through that end of the day. All right, where we are, I think we should go back to the code. I'll go back to the code here, RSI and ADX. Do we have a comment? Because I don't want the plot shape, as I said. So if you don't want it, but still you want to keep it as part of the code, what you can do is like you just select it and then press control slash is the keyword. That will keep your code. Maybe if you want, you can later on, you can go back and experiment. But right now, I don't want that. So I'm just commented this out with a double slash comment. Multi-line commenting, if you want to do, just select that. And if you want to remove the comment also, same key, control and forward slash, that goes away. And again, control plus forward slash, that will again bring the controls over here. So let's save this. Because my recommendation is always go with this default controls that will be automatically will be bringing those automatically will be bringing those informations. Now what you can also do here is like, hey, you add a suitable strategy comment. So I'll just copy this one. I'll go back here. I'll say like, this is my updated code. This is my updated code. And I want to add something. I want to say like add the strategy comment, like long entry, long exit, short entry, and short exit. Right? You just give the proper instruction, and these models are really good in following those instructions. Then just type enter. And when it comes to instruction following, ChatGPT and the Claude Sonnet does really good. And comparatively, the O1 preview model, GPT-4o model, it does extremely good enough. You see that it's also adding the comment over here. Like I asked for comment in the strategy order section, but somehow it added comment. Maybe I would have specified, maybe I should have given some examples. Maybe I'll say like, I'll say like, maybe I'll just give an example, like say, uh, also add commenting like this, which is good, but what I want is like comment equal to long entry, right? So something like that is what I need, so that it updates the code, and now it adds a comment in every line. Not only here, it adds in every other line also. You see that comment equal to long exit, short entry, short exit. It is intelligent enough to understand the pattern over here. I'm just saying, like, first it understands that, okay, I have to add a comment over here. It thinks that uh, I have to add a comment for every long entry, long exit condition, even though that is not my intention. But this is also looking good. But what my real intention is like to add a comment over here. So if I want to add a comment, if at all I'm not able to communicate, I'll give examples. If I haven't communicated properly, then I'll give examples. Then the model understands that, oh, this is how the user is expecting. So it sees through the connection what I'm expecting. I have to give like only one example, but it is able to fill all other examples as well. Right. So that is why it sees through the patterns the way we human understands, right? So just copy it and then get back to the code, save it. Of course, there should not be any errors. Yeah, there are no errors. I have to add to the chat. But we are not getting any signals. Why are we not getting any signals? No trades has been generated. What could be the reason? The reason could be the properties, but I don't see any issue with the properties here. Hourly chart, ADX, RSA, or maybe the problem with the strategy itself. Let's go and check it out. Strategy condition could be little, uh, because we are looking for like overbought and oversold level, which is unlikely to happen every now and then. Once in a while it happens, but let's go through the condition over here. So TA.DMI, it's going to give three values, plus DI, minus DI, and RDX. I mean ADX. It had given those values properly. RSI. Long entry condition is like when ADX is able to cross the ADX threshold. What is the ADX threshold we had given? 25. So 25 should be a good number only. Let's also add ADX as well. Go here, add ADX. So ADX, and also I'm going to add RSA as well. And in RSI, let me remove that extra SMA factor. I don't want that thing. So I'll go to style and then I'll remove this RSI based moving average. Somehow it is crossing those levels itself. But what is happening here is, let's try to understand where we are missing. ADX should be greater than ADX threshold. So is the ADX is crossing 25? Obviously, it should be crossing 25 in many instances. Here it is crossing. If for time being, we'll remove this plus DI and minus DI. So time being, we are keeping it simple. Just only looking for this ADX threshold only. The problem is like RSI here, right? So here I can understand. So let me replace the context. Let me try to understand why this is not generating a signal. It's not generating a signal because we are looking for RSI to cross the ADX threshold. We're looking for some sort of strong price action. Whenever the ADX is crossing 25, obviously the momentum is going to be there. But here we are looking for a fall in momentum, right? So this way it's contradicting. Maybe we have to change the condition a little bit. Maybe we'll say like RSI greater than, kind of overbought. I'm going to look for momentum here. And here I'm going to say like RSI should be less than oversold. DI plus should be greater than DI minus. Here also DI plus should be greater than DI minus, because basically we are looking for momentum, right? Momentum only here we are looking for RSI to go down. Negative momentum is what we're going to look through that. I think this should be good enough. And long exit condition, a long exit condition, I'm going to say like if RSI is getting less than maybe something like 50, if the momentum is falling, I want to exit. And here also RSI short the condition, I'm going to say like RSI, if it is getting greater than 50, I want to take an exit, right? So let's see first whether the strategy works or not, then we'll remodify the condition, because a lot of things has to change. The comments, everything has to change. So first we'll see this is working or not. This should be working. Yeah, so it is working fine, right? So long entry is happening when it's crossing the RSI is above, crossing above the 70 levels, and it's holding on to that unless RSI dip down below 50. The moment it's dipping down below 50, it is taking a long exit. So yeah, this is working fine. So what I'm going to do is I'll just go to ChatGPT and say, hey, this is my existing code. I'm going to say like, I'll go to Claude. I'll say like, this is my modified code. I changed the strategy logic. Provide me the updated strategy comments. Also for RSI 50 comparison, provide input. So as of now, I haven't added input. The 50 is hard coded, which I'm going to say like you add an input control. So it's what are the code that I'm having? The logic is going to remain the same, but it's going to refactor the comments. It is also going to refactor the value 50. It's going to give some more comment is what it's going to give over here. So let me type enter. See that the RSI mid-level, it's giving a comment over here 50. That is what we are using it for exiting purpose. RSI mid-level, a new input has been added. Now it also remodified the logic as well. So it also modified the logic, entry logic, exit logic. Everywhere we use the RSI mid-level over here for exit purpose, right? So that also added. Strategy comment also added over here. And tons of my time also got saved in typing all those things, right? So what you can expect from these ChatGPT and the Claude Sonnet kind of tools is like if you know coding, you can achieve faster productivity, right? So this is like what will not be spending time in writing all these like 53 lines of codes. So you know what is happening. You exactly instruct the model what the model supposed to do, and it does the work beautifully. Maybe your expectation is like 10%, the model will outperform like 80% or 90%. Right? That's the kind of a productivity output that you can anticipate from these kind of models. All right. So, you guys have any doubts about it? Let me go back to the screen. Yeah, this is what we are getting over here, right? So here, the beauty is that long entry and then long exit. Again, long entry, long exit, long entry and long exit. It's not always long short, or it is not long, long exit, long exit, but it is like in a uptrending market, it is performing only long entry, long exits. And maybe in a downtrending market, it started taking short entries, short exit, again short entry. It's still holding with the shorts. So relevant markets is taking relevant trading decisions with these kind of simple long entry, long exit kind of models. Right, this is a different mechanism altogether. What we are using is like we are using four conditions. Four conditions: long exit, short exit is what we are trying to use over here. And appropriate comments is what we are providing. And quantity, we are giving the quantity controls everything to the properties itself. So if you go to the properties, you can control all those strategy level controls. You'll be able to control from the property section itself. Are you guys clear, or you want to do only manual coding only? Or if you are not comfortable, please tell me. I'll do the manual coding also. I'm really good in doing all those both the things. So if in case you want to go with Claude, you can understand these very basic things. We can stick to ChatGPT kind of stuff. Time to time, we'll also practice manual coding as well, so that it will be very helpful for you to provide the prompts, right? So more better you are with manual coding, yes, more easier for you to generate prompts. You can instruct the model what to say to the model, so that you can get the output way better than what we anticipate. All right, Manoj says clear, he's able to understand. How about Silamarson, Michael, and Vinay? All right, Michael says clear. Great. Silamarson, how about you guys? Like, you are clear, like, because last time you are the one who asked for a manual coding. So we've been doing the manual coding also. Simultaneously, we're also looking into the ChatGPT and Claude kind of models as well. Okay, Silamarasan said, like, since I don't know about code, need to learn more. So, Silamarasan, we are also not just directly going and giving the prompt. First, we are done all these things with the manual coding as well. Now we are also using ChatGPT and the Claude Sonnet kind of models for building the codes faster. So we're not doing anything extra. What we learned is what now we are building things like a Lego bricks. We are building pretty much way faster, right? Yeah. What my recommendation is like, you also simultaneously go and practice some simple logic. You don't need to practice complex logic on a day one itself. Try to practice some simple logic. Like what I'm trying to do is like simple logic is what I'm trying to practice. Yes, of course, I'm not getting what I want immediately. I'm not getting what I want. So that is why we are making a conversation with this bot. I'm feeding more inputs. I'm telling, hey, you make this model like this. I don't want this. I just remove this. Or maybe you add comment over here. Or maybe you change the logic over here. You add controls over here. So it's going to be a repeated conversation, right? So, and then you're not going to get everything in one shot itself. So you have to make a conversation with this bot, like how you make a conversation with your uh, probably with your friend or with your girlfriend, right? So basically the same level of interaction is what we have to maintain with these models as well. So we build a rapport and we understand the behavior of the model. Once you understand the behavior of the model, you can get whatever you want. You can clearly pinpoint and say, if I give this prompt instruction like something like this, I know what is going to be the end outcome. End outcome is like it's going to add it to every line, it's going to add. So that is where you start interacting with these models by building small things, right? Not on a day one, you're not going to interact with the completely, you're not going to say like what exactly you want. Try to create something simple, right? So use the bottom up approach, right? Don't go and build everything in one chart. That is not going to happen. First you learn to build simple things, and then over a period of time you can make slightly moderate level complexity, and then you can start building bigger complex concepts. See, one of the concept that we had built is like, I'm not sure how many of you guys has been seen. So this is one of the most complex stuff which I had built in TradingView, which is nothing but this first and second order Greeks. First, I have to use this model. So TradingView Pinescript real-time option Greeks with simple volatility. And even before solving this, I have to solve the simple option straddle. So this is like kind of an option straddle. We'll be getting an at the money options. First, I have to solve the simple things. So simply, I have to get this at the money price, call symbol, call premium, put premium, straddle price. I want to display it like a kind of a dashboard. This is my first exercise. I had done that. Then I want to go one step higher. So what I have to do is like I had to go back and then I have to solve this one. Not using live code. If I would have used live code, I would have never achieved this. So here I have to do this with option Greeks. With I had used Claude on a newer model, and it's really good in doing those things. I have to solve this very simple stuff over here with historical option Greeks. So here you can select the uh, option Greeks like delta, gamma, theta, vega, all those things. You can able to see it historically. You'll be able to see that all those informations. A lot of coding has been went through that. A lot of back and forth conversation. At least it would have been took me like some 3 4 hours to build this entire code, right? Not only to build the code, it had done it pretty faster, but to build that, I have to first I had to build this, and then I had to build this, and then finally I had to build this one, the last one, the first and second order option Greeks, where we have this delta, theta, vega, and rho, and also gamma, vana, cham, and wama. Like these kind of statistics, if you want to build, I have to first. If you ask me, can I do this on the day one itself? This kind of complex stuff with all those complex logics, I don't think it is achievable on the first shot itself, right? So once you get the basics right, once you are able to solve the very basic, next you yourself will challenge yourself to build something complex, something even more complex, right? So that is how the uh, thing evolves in this particular AI based coding, right? So you cannot build everything on the day one itself. If you are just starting interacting with ChatGPT, you are new to ChatGPT, you may have to take it very slowly. I mean, it's going to build faster, but for us, it's going to be slow. For the models, it's going to be faster. So try to build simple things and then go with the complex things, right? That's my recommendation. All right, so now we'll look into the logical operators because something that is what we need to focus. I said like we'll be focusing on the logical operators. When it comes to logical operators, let's say I'll try to pull up a whiteboard session here. We have a whiteboard. I'm just looking for a whiteboard. A lot more controls has been changed in this Zoom. I think we're not. Yeah, there's a whiteboard here. I'm sorry. So let me share the whiteboard. So hope you guys are seeing the whiteboard here. You guys are able to see my whiteboard? If yes, please type yes so that I'll get a fair idea that you guys are able to see my whiteboard. All right, great. So when it comes to logical operators, so we're gonna play with the logical operators over here. Logical operators. So we have three different types of operators: and, or, and not operator. Let's try to understand how this and operator works. So let's say I'm having two different conditions. Let's think about a simple condition like I'm going to have a logic like my long condition. Long condition is nothing but my RSI should be greater than 30 and MACD should be greater than 0, or let's say RSI is greater than something like 60. Yes, this is how I'm just going to have my own condition over here. So here we are having two conditions, condition 1 and then condition 2. So if my condition 1 is going to be, let's say if my condition, we have condition 1 and we're going to have condition 2. We have like condition 1 and condition 2, and we're going to have a result, right? So if my condition 1 is true, right? My condition 1 is true, automatically my condition 2 is also true. Both has to be true. Only then my final end result is gonna be true over here. Only then my final end result is gonna be true. If any one of them is gonna be false, if any one of them is gonna be false, the other condition is true, my end result is gonna be what? Again, it's gonna be we can say like my end result is again gonna be like somewhat not aligning, but that's fine. It's gonna be like, sorry, it's gonna be like false. If again, let's say like if any one of them is true, again means condition 1 is in this case, let's say that this is going to be true and condition 2 is going to be false. Again, the end outcome is going to be false over here. This is with the and condition, and logic. If both are false, again the end outcome is going to be false again. There's no doubt about that. If both are false also, the end outcome is going to be false. So the key learning here is only the condition has to be true. Only then the final outcome is also going to be true over here, right? So otherwise, even if both are any one of them is going to be false or both are going to be false, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out over here. Somehow the alignment is not happening. Yeah. Yes. Ah, come on. So that is with and logic. Maybe we can let me try to explain the same thing with an or logic as well. Let's go with the or logic. So this is with and condition, right? This is with and condition. So if I go and do the same thing with an or logic, any one of them is going to be true. Either condition one is true, either condition one is true, or condition true is true. If any one of them, or if both of them are true, the final outcome is going to be true over here. The final outcome is going to be true. So that's how the OR logic work. At least one of them has to be true in this case. So either this one or the other one. So you're able to understand. So here we can have as many logic as possible, right? But in case of AND logic, even if you are using three conditions that you're going to use, all the three condition has to be true. Only then the outcome is going to be true. Let's say like RSI should be greater than 60 and ADX should be greater than 25 and MACD should be greater than 0. So if all the three conditions are true, only then the final outcome is going to be true over here. Otherwise, we're not going to get a true value. We're going to end up getting a false value only. The conditions are not going to match up. So this is with AND and OR logic. The NOT logic is going to be pretty simple. It's simple and straightforward as well. The NOT logic goes like this. We have only one condition here. We're not going to have multiple conditions. Let's remove that and say like we're going to have only one condition. So the NOT logic goes like this. The NOT of true is like we'll be having only one condition. It just simply toggles the condition over here in case of NOT. If it is true, it will become false. If it is false, it will become true. Right? That's what it happens in this case. It just simply toggles. A true statement will make it false. A false statement, it will make it true. That's what a NOT logic. Example could be something like, let's say, not of, let's say, if not of intraday. So let's say intraday is some sort of control. If intraday is not enabled, if intraday is not true, then I will apply positional logic. Or if it is not positional, I will apply an intraday logic. Right? So something like that. So I'll start writing my intraday logic over here. Intraday and positional could be some variable which shows like some sort of controls. Just imagine that I'm having a variable called intraday. If intraday is true, then I will play intraday logic. If it is intraday is not true, then I will go with a positional logic. Right? So like that, we can use a not intraday, something like that. So when it comes to OR logic, we can use something like, let's say my long exit is going to be, I will exit my longs if the stop hit is happening, or if the target hit is happening, or maybe if the square of time is reached. Square of time. If any one of those things are getting a hit, in that case, we will be exiting our positions over here. Right? So that way we can easily bring with those context. Something like a simple logic over here. I guess this is pretty easy to understand. If any one of those conditions is true, the outcome, even one statement, if it is true also, the entire statement will become a true. It will return as true value over here for that particular bar. So this you are able to understand, Slimmerson? You're able to understand this? Or you need more examples? All right, great, great. So this is a basic thing. But yes, since you are a new to programmer, I have to explain this. But otherwise, it is pretty straightforward, right? And when conditions are many, you can also use a mix of and or condition as well. For example, I can say like my condition, I can write something like this. Just go back and then I'm going to write a condition over here. I'll say my long entry is, or long exit is, I want to exit my longs if there is a my reverse signal, my bearish condition is getting triggered. Either bearish condition has to trigger, and at the same time, maybe I'm also checking like time should be greater than something like 8:30 something. So I'm just writing a plain vanilla. I'm not writing a pine script here, but I'm just trying to give a context over here. If I'm checking whether long exit should happen, I should be getting some bearish signal, and my time also should be greater than 8:30. Only then I want to take an exit, or I want to exit if a stop is hit, stop loss is hit, or target is hit, or maybe square of time is hit. So you can have whenever you are having this parenthesis, the parenthesis will be executed first. That will be treated as one condition, and this like second condition, third condition, fourth condition. So you can also use a mix of and or logic as well in your examples, and that is totally possible. Ensure that what are the parentheses that you are opening, you're also closing the same parenthesis uh, at the proper location, right? So this will be given a priority first. This will be executed first, and then this is condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, and this is going to be condition 4. That's how it works when it comes to almost every programming concept works like this. Michael is asking, this logic can be used for candle patterns, volume and price, etc. Of course, wherever you need to apply any rule-based logic, wherever you need this true or false kind of statements, where you're looking for a certain pattern. Let's say you are looking for some sort of an some simple bar patterns, some candlestick patterns you're looking out for. You for a confirmation, when that candle pattern is supposed to confirm, obviously you have to use this and and or logic. Yes, candle patterns, it will be used heavily. Strategies also will be used heavily to identify certain pattern, whether the pattern is confirming or not. For that, obviously, you have to, end of the day, you have to get a true or false kind of indications, which will be further using it to plot some labels or signals or something. We need to use this by this and an or not logic. We have to use it. You can also use it for volume breakout as well. Let's say I'm just going to code a simple volume based breakout setup. Simple logic is what I'm going to write, right? Let's see how this works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch back to my screen. Go to screen. I'll go to my screen here. I'm sure you guys might be seeing my screen. So let's say now we're going to do a simple volume based breakout, right? Let's say volume based breakout is what we're going to scan. We're going to play with that. So I'll create a new one. Let me remove this setup. Go to Pine Editor. And yeah, so we'll create a new one. And then I'll go to strategy. So not strategy, but this time we're going to play with an indicator. So even in an indicator, definitely we're going to use that and or logic. So we're going to say like volume breakout condition. I'm going to say like overlay equal to false, because I'm going to plot down below the candlestick charts. So I'm going to say like if my current volume is greater than let's say like last 50 bar average volume. So my current volume is greater than last 50 bar average volume. That's one of the condition. I'm going to have two conditions over here. So my wall, let's say we'll call this like wall breakout underscore condition one. It's going to be my first condition. I'm going to say like for volume, we're going to use like volume greater than. Uh, so volume is greater than last 50 bar average volume. So how do I know that last 50 bar average volume? I'm not looking for the volume including current bar. This is excluding current bar. This excludes current bar. Which means I have to compare my previous last 50 bar average volume. So average we can use like TA.SMA. Then I can take an volume, but not including current bar. I have to take for right from the previous bar onwards. I have to say like volume of one. That's what does that means is like last 50 bar average volume that excludes current bar, right? Oops, volume one, comma for the last 50 bars. So this is current volume we are comparing with the previous bar 50-day average volume. So means it's not daily average, but whichever the time frame that you're applying. If you're applying on a hourly chart, it will be hourly volume. If you're applying on a daily chart, it will be a daily volume. And maybe we'll have another volume condition. Let's call that as like volume breakout underscore condition 2. So we're also ensuring that it is making an fresh 50-day last compared to last 50 days, it's making a fresh breakout. And not only that, we also checking for, let's say like my current volume should be at least 2 times of the previous day volume, right? So that's going to be the second condition. Second condition is going to be like my today's volume should be at least 2 times of yesterday's volume. Or maybe yeah, first we'll try with this condition, right? So it's a simple condition only. So volume has to be greater than 2 times of at least, right? So 2 times of previous day volume. So volume of one. That's why it's simple. So both the condition is what it's going to put together to become a volume breakout. So it's going to be a volume breakout condition. Volume breakout condition. So we're going to say like my volume underscore breakout is nothing but first condition and my second condition. So when you're coding, ensure that you are giving some relevant meaning so that tomorrow you open the code, you yourself understand what exactly it is, and from a comment you can easily understand that, oh, this is what it is happening. And it is also very useful to give as a part of the prompt to the ChatGPT or Claude Sonnet, right? Anyways, without that also Claude and ChatGPT is really good in building the codes, even whatever the codes, even if you're going to use like A, you're going to use like B here, it's going to understand the context, but more better the context that you're going to feed to ChatGPT, lesser the hallucination that you're going to get from ChatGPT, better the outcome is what you're going to get from these models. And we also have some dynamic colors, right? So whenever this volume breakout is happening, I want to highlight those bars with a different color. So maybe an yellow color is what I'm going to use it to highlight. Volumes will be plotting with a histogram. So all those things we need to know that. So set the color, or we'll say like highlight the volume breakout color. Highlight the volume breakout color. So we're going to highlight with an yellow color. Let's say like wall color. If it is a volume breakout, if volume breakout is true, if I say volume breakout, what does that means? I'm just checking whether volume breakout is true or not. If it is true, this condition is true, which means I want to plot in color yellow, color.yellow. Otherwise, I want to store maybe something like color, maybe gray, maybe Yeah, color gray, that should be looking good. It's going to be like volume color. So now we're going to plot the volume, and we'll say like title equal to volume, comma. Color is nothing but volume color. We have this volume color. It's not wall color, but volume color. And yeah, line width, I want it to be in a thicker format. So this time I'll go with an line width as 3. And I'm also going to say like style equal to plot dot style underscore histogram. Right? So let's save this. All right, so here we go. Let's see what is the outcome that we are getting. It's an indicator, first of all, right? It's not an other stuff. Let's add to the chart. I had added to the chart. So now we can see that wherever the volume is crossing above 650 days average, last 50 days average, right? Not the 50-day high. We're not looking for a 50-day high. We're looking for it should be crossing the last 50-day average. And it should be, the volume should be more than twice compared to the previous day volume. It highlights those bars in those, what are the color that we want, right? And maybe I want to plot the average as well. Let's plot the average as well. So let's plot the average. So this is my average value, right? Maybe we'll say like I'll just put this in a separate. Let's just put this in a last 50 days average volume. Right? I'll say like AVG wall. I'm just gonna put this. And then the other one, I'll bring it over here. Instead of putting this, I'll just bring the average volume itself. And I'm also going to plot the average volume as well. So I want to plot the AVG wall. I'll call this like title. I'm going to give it like average volume. Maybe color, I'll give it like blue. Color dot blue. And line width, I'm going to make it like thin volume only. I mean, thin lines, maybe are slightly thicker lines too. And it's going to be style line itself. So I'll just leave it as it is. If I don't specify the style, automatically it will take it as a line type. Let's save this. So we are able to get this average volume itself, right? Michael is also asking like time frame alignment from 1 minute or 3 minute or 5 minute breakout. Of course, that yes, there also conditions will be heavily used, right? So here we are playing with a simple condition. So a simple AND condition is what we are playing out with that. But you can bring as complex conditions as you want. Maybe tomorrow, what we will try to do is like we'll try to explore more on indicator perspective, right? And also what is also pending is like I have to supposed to demonstrate open algo today, how to automate your trades from TradingView. This is more related to Indian markets, but maybe I'll try to demonstrate tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll try to demonstrate on Indian markets. Let's say you want to have an long only condition or short only condition, or if you're having long short both conditions, then what are the things that you need to be taking care when you are automating your trades using TradingView? Like TradingView will be generating signals and the execution will be happening in your trading account. How to do that, I'll be demonstrating it. Maybe I'll take some demo account and then I'll try to show you. So I hope if you have any doubts, you can always reach me at uh, our own private community, marketcalls.slack.com. If in case you haven't got any, so we have this dedicated channel here called TradingView. So where you can go and ask your questions, and I'll be responding to your questions mostly. So if in case if you are facing any issues, you are so this is going to be a lifetime commitment. What we are trying to do here, we've been having this community. This community has been like since 2015 onwards. We are having the Slack community. Yeah. So if you have any questions, you can always post your code. Try to get some assistance over here. Most likely, ChatGPT will be able to solve it. But if in case, I mean, not in every case, ChatGPT can solve it. If in case if you are facing still issues and you want to sort it out, you want me to look into that, you can always post in TradingView, and I can help you through that. And this commitment we are providing is like lifetime. So yeah. Anyways, let me pass here. We'll come back tomorrow. So tomorrow is all about more strategies and more indicators, and particularly we are also going to talk about automation point of view as well. Like, see you in tomorrow's session. Thank you.